Some lessons are learned in the classroom, but others, well, others are taught by the dead. Today, we're diving into a really popular and chilling ghost story from Mumbai. It's all about a college that, after the sun goes down, supposedly becomes a place of pure terror.
Think about it. We go to school to learn about the world around us, right? But what happens when something from another world decides to follow us inside? What if the lessons themselves are actually haunted?
So, our story kicks off with a simple challenge, a dare, really, at a very well-known girls' college in Mumbai. But this isn't about the students or their classes. No, this is about what lurks in the college's forgotten, decaying walls long after everyone else has gone home. See, SNDD College is kind of a place of two worlds. You've got the new building, which, during the day, is bustling with students, full of life and learning. But right next to it, you have the old building, a crumbling, abandoned ruin that everyone whispers is seriously haunted. And the legend isn't just some vague, spooky story. It's incredibly specific. The students all say that at exactly 2 a.m., the ghost of a female teacher walks those empty corridors, and you can hear her voice echoing all across the campus. This is where our main character, Rohan, steps into the picture. He's 20 years old and a total skeptic. So when his friend, who actually goes to the college, tells him this ghost story, he just laughs it off. So she calls his bluff. She dares him to spend one night inside the haunted building. And Rohan, totally confident it's all a bunch of nonsense, accepts without a second thought. Of course, he's not going in alone. He gets his good friend Vishal to come with him. The plan is super simple. They'll sneak in through the back entrance at 1:30 in the morning, giving them a whole half hour before the supposed haunting begins, just to prove it's all a joke. So, armed with basically nothing but their flashlights and way too much confidence, the two friends slip inside the abandoned building. And it takes them almost no time at all to realize this might have been a terrible, terrible mistake. The atmosphere inside is just suffocating. You've got overgrown bushes literally crawling up the inside walls and thick cobwebs hanging from the ceiling like creepy curtains. Every rusty door they push open lets out this loud, awful creak. And then there's the silence. It's this heavy, dead quiet, so intense they could actually hear their own hearts pounding in their chests. And then, cutting right through that dead silence, they hear it, a woman's voice. It's coming from an empty classroom down the hall, and it sounds just like a teacher calmly reciting a multiplication table. Vishal is instantly terrified, as you can imagine. But Rohan, ever the skeptic, is just convinced it's a prank. He thinks someone must be hiding in there, trying to scare them. All the while, the voice just keeps going with its creepy, rhythmic lesson. So Rohan decides he's going to confront whoever's behind this so-called prank. He grabs a very reluctant Vishal, and they start heading toward the classroom the voice is coming from. He's going to expose this whole thing as a joke. But as they get closer, something strange happens. The voice just stops. And at that exact same moment, they're blasted by this wave of intense, bone-chilling cold. It felt like standing right in front of an open freezer. This was the first sign that maybe, just maybe, this wasn't a prank. They step into the empty classroom, and that's when things just go from 0 to 100. The teacher's voice is back, but now it's angry and loud. Then they hear it, a sharp slapping sound echoing through the room, followed immediately by the heart-breaking sound of children crying seemingly all around them. Rohan's shining his flashlight all over the room, but there's nothing. Just broken chairs, an old blackboard. They are completely alone. But as they're standing there, just frozen with fear, they hear another sound, a faint scratching noise. It's a piece of chalk, and it's writing on the blackboard, all by itself. And this is what they see getting scrawled out letter by some invisible hand. I was killed here, and now I want my revenge. That's it. That's the confirmation they needed. This is no prank. Pure, absolute terror takes over, and the two friends just turn and bolt for their lives. They scramble out of that classroom, fly down the stairs, and burst out of the building into the night air. But as Rohan is trying to catch his breath, he makes a discovery that's somehow even more horrifying. He's alone. Rohan frantically yells Vishal's name, but there's just silence.
He looks around in the darkness, his heart just sinking into his stomach. His friend didn't make it out with him. Then Rohan looks up at the building, and there he is, Vishal. He's on the first floor, his face pressed against a window, crying and just desperately pounding on the glass. But the window won't open. He's trapped inside with whatever that thing is. Rohan knows he can't leave him. He has to go back in. Taking a deep breath, Rohan forces himself back into that haunted building. As he's going up the stairs, he hears the multiplication tables again. But this time, to his absolute horror, he realizes it's Vishal's voice, chanting the lesson over and over like he's in some kind of terrified trance. He follows the sound back to that same classroom. What he sees in there freezes him solid. Vishal is huddled on the floor, just reciting the tables, and standing over him is a woman in a filthy black sari, holding a stick. Her face, it's swollen and looks like it's rotting, and her eyes are a horrifying solid white.
Rohan manages to whisper Vishal's name. The ghost's head snaps toward him, and this awful, insane smile just spreads across its decaying face as it gets up and starts moving towards Rohan. He turns to run, but in his panic, he slips on the stairs, falls, and everything goes black.
When Rohan wakes up, he's not in the college anymore. He's safe, somehow, at Vishal's apartment. But the story of what actually happened that night is nowhere near clear. And this is where the story gets really twisted, because their accounts of the rescue, they don't match at all. Rohan is 100% certain that he went back inside to save a trapped Vishal. But Vishal tells a completely different story. He says he was the one who escaped, realized Rohan was missing, and went back in with 2 other friends, only to find Rohan passed out on the stairs, all while the ghost's voice and the sounds of crying children echoed around them. So we're left with this impossible question. Whose memory is real? Did one of them imagine the rescue in a state of terror? Or did whatever was in that building actually manipulate their minds? The one thing they both agree on is the absolute horror they felt. They never, ever went near that building again. Which leaves us with one last chilling thought. The legend of S&D College continues. And maybe, just maybe, that vengeful teacher is still in her classroom, just waiting for the next lesson to begin.